Welcome to the Emotional and Mental Health Summit. My name is Dolores Andrew Gavin and I'm your host. I am the founder of The Mythic Fairy, a dedicated children's website for all things emotional health. I'm also the author of 2 children's books, an empowerment and assertive coach, a podcaster, blogger and mum. I have 2 reasons, I guess, for doing this summit and bringing it together. And firstly, it's to support the whole conversation that's already there around emotional and mental health. And secondly, I also want to bring tools to people to show them that, I suppose, firstly, that there are tools that we can use to help us, whether that be learning something like emotional freedom technique or helping ourselves to step into our power by finding our voice. There are lots of different tools I'll share on this summit from the speakers that will be speaking. And also, of course, you also will hear from people who have been on a journey themselves. So it's always good to know that we're not alone and that others have travelled the same path possibly as ourselves. I hope that you enjoy the summit. Thanks for being here. Welcome back to the Emotional and Mental Health Summit. Today I'm joined by Danielle Serpico. Danielle is half Irish, half Italian, and she came to live here in Ireland when she was 10. Now I'm going to let her tell you her story. But what Danielle has done is she has transformed challenges that she would have had in her life into positives. Who better to have on a summit like this to give us tools and tricks than Danielle Serpico? You're welcome.
Hi, Dolores. It's fabulous to be here with you as always. Always lovely to chat with you.
And likewise, it's great. I mean, I have your book here, as I said to you. Yes, I always have your book. And it's a great book because this is the type of thing, as I said to you, having the conversation around emotional and mental health, but also providing people with tools to help them. Because I think that's really what I benefited from myself in the past as well. And I'm sure a lot of people too. If we come across obstacles along our path in life, it's very well, it's great to become aware of them. But I think it's useful to have tools in our toolbox to pull out. So yourself, you would have gone through your own challenges to bring you to where you are to transform into what you do. So you might want to share a little bit with us to how you got involved in being a mind coach now, if you wish, of course.
I would love to. So currently I work as a mind coach. A lot of people don't know what that is. I kind of like to say it's like a life coach on steroids on 3D. It's if you've ever seen the film Limitless, okay, where the guy takes the pill and he can see the world in a whole new way and everything speeds up and everything gets better and he's super intelligent and he's got these superpowers as such.
Wow, I must go look for that.
Yeah, it's a great film, actually, great film. I like to say I help people get more of that, okay, without having to take the pill. It's more of a metaphoric pill.
Sure.
So I do that through coaching and a mixture of hypnosis and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which we may call conversational hypnosis, how you speak to yourself internally and how you communicate with others externally, and basic life practical skills and psychological skills. Now, 10 years ago, I would never have thought I'd be doing a job like this. I was in a completely different career. And as you said, I had a big life change. I was always entrepreneurial. I was always a businesswoman. And at 19, I opened my first business where the Happy Pair now is in Greystones. I'm sure many people know the Happy Pair twins.
Absolutely. They're great.
They're great. They're brilliant. But in exactly that premises was where I opened my first business when I was 19 years of age.
Wow,
and I had a little pizzeria called the Pizza Mill there. And I went on then to have another restaurant. So the short version is basically, in the recession, I went bust, lost everything, went bankrupt, lost my home, had gone through a divorce, had lost my my dogs, which I adored. And I hit rock bottom. And one of the reasons I hit rock bottom is because I had never addressed issues from my childhood. And one of the reasons I'd become a businesswoman at 19 years of age and I'd left art college, my dream at the time to set up a business was because I wanted to kind of be successful outwardly. I wanted to wear the mask. Okay. I didn't want to be a failure. I didn't want to be somebody
struggling artist.
I didn't want to be a struggling artist, exactly. And I didn't want to be kind of struggling like I see my parents struggle. And I wanted to be, I thought that being a businesswoman and entrepreneurial was going to bring me success and ultimately happiness. Okay. Now it did, to a very shallow, kind of superficial level, bring me a certain amount of success and happiness. But when I hit rock bottom, in other words, when the mask came off and I no longer had that front of being a businesswoman, okay, in inverted commas, I was just back to being little old me without the title of having been a restaurateur. I suddenly realized, oh, okay, well, oh God, now they're actually going to see me for who I am. And I'm actually really just this silly little young girl who knows nothing. That's how I felt, because I literally felt like a 9-year-old child. I went back to all the issues and problems and beliefs and feelings that I had when I was a little girl and had gone through other trauma in my life, okay, such as my parents breaking up and coming from Italy over to Ireland, and feeling a real sense of detachment, isolation, not belonging, not knowing who I was, and not fitting in. So I grew up with that feeling of never fitting in, and I pushed it under. And when the metaphoric, stuff hit the fan as such, yes. in 2009, I fell apart. Now, I fell apart very badly, to the point that I actually kind of attempted suicide, okay? And I hit total rock bottom. I was in such a panic. It was kind of a stage even further than depression, in the sense of I was panic stricken. I actually had this constant, I was literally in this flight mode. I couldn't calm my heartbeat down. I couldn't eat. I didn't know what to do. I was totally panic stricken. So I did end up, thankfully, I decided to pick myself back up and give it another go. And one of the reasons I did that was because after I had a very, very poor attempt at killing myself and trying to cut my wrists, I realized that I wouldn't be found, because I'd kind of isolated myself on purpose, because I would pretend to one person that I was with the other, and I'd pretend to the other that I was with the other. So people didn't realize how bad I was, okay, because I didn't tell them. I kept it to myself, okay, which I'm sure many people understand and probably do, okay. They pretend everything's okay, and inside they're falling apart. And I didn't want anyone to know, because I was still keeping up that front to pretend everything was okay, but I was a total wreck. And I really believed at that point in my life that I was totally 100% believed that I was unlovable, unworthy, absolutely the most unlovable creature on this earth. That's what I totally, utterly believed. And that's why I wanted to end my life. Now, luckily, something kicked in. And I think that was a very cliche, but I remembered, and I have it in my book, The Black Belt Mastermind. It's my favorite quote. It's a black belt is simply a white belt who never gave up.
Yeah, I love that quote.
Yeah, it's a great quote. And it meant two things to me. It meant, one, no matter how hard you get kicked in the gut and how much things hurt, we all know the saying, this too shall pass. And I knew from my experience and my background, I had been a black belt and I have been a European champion, gold champion. And, I had done all of that.
Well, you had done that before this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I had done that. So you see, I was a fighter. I was always a fighter. I was always a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I always had it in me to kind of fight, but underneath it, I had this no self-belief. It's kind of strange. It's like, many of us can have this double-sided persona, Yeah, like, yes, yeah, we have, it's like confidence. You can be really appear confident. You can be very confident in things that you do. When I was running business, I was teaching staff, I was training people, I was talking to customers. So outwardly, everybody would think that, oh, this is the most happiest, smiley, cheerful, successful, confident person on earth. But inside, I genuinely believed that I must be the most unlovable human being on the planet. That's what I felt. Completely and utterly felt that. There's no other way to explain it. I thought nobody could possibly ever, no one's ever going to love me. That's what I felt. Okay. And that's the difference between confidence and self-belief. And it took me a big push. And I remember thinking of that, listening to that quote inside my head and thinking to myself, am I a black belt? Am I a black belt, something that somebody can just go into buy in a shop for €2? Okay, if you wanna. Or am I really a black belt? Someone that actually gets back up and, at the hardest point with that pain and fights back. So I decided to get back up and fight.
So you did that yourself, basically, like, without any intervention. You didn't go to anyone. You just decided.
Well, I made the decision myself at that moment.
Brilliant.
Yes. But then, yes, I did go and get help. Absolutely. That was the next day. But ultimately, we ourselves have to decide ourselves, okay, we got to take a step. We got to take a step up and out. And
that took courage, though, Danielle.
Yeah.
From where you were, obviously feeling so low on that, and having those, beliefs that you were unlovable, and that, it did take courage to look at that statement and to really believe in it.
It did. I mean, there I was. I mean, I'm giving away my age, but 10 years ago, so you know what age I am. But I was 36 then, and and there I was. I was thinking, I'd just gone through a divorce. I was homeless. I was carless. Like they'd taken my car, they'd taken my home. I had just lost my dogs. I had no partner. I was alone. I was penniless. I literally had to go up and ask, not even go and apply for the social welfare. I had to go and ask the community welfare officer for money that week to live.
Oh my goodness.
That's how I couldn't even wait. Like, because I had no money. Literally every single penny had been taken from me, right? So I had nothing, and I was being threatened by the local debt collector, kind of local criminal that became a debt collector in Ireland. I won't say any names, but anyway, so I had all this going on, and I just didn't know what to do. But anyway, I decided, right, I'm going to give it one more shot, and thankfully I did. And
wow, absolutely, thankfully is right. And look at you now.
Yeah. So the first thing I did was I did go to talk to the doctor, because I did attempt to cut my wrists. Okay, very badly, and I knew it was the wrong way, but because obviously that was a cry for help.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I went to the doctor, and I did get I think I was on medication for about 3 months. That's all. It wasn't a long time, but it was enough for me to just stabilize me, because I was in such a state of panic. I was so worked up and anxious. It was literally like a deer caught in the headlights. I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Everything has been pulled away from me. I'm just literally standing in the middle of the road here, and I'm going to be run over. That's how I felt. So I went on medication. I spoke to the doctors, and now I had been going to counselling for other stuff. I continued the counselling. Now I do believe that everyone needs to talk. So that's kind of how it started. Now I have another side of that, a step up from that. So I want to make sure that I put this into context. I believe that there is absolutely a necessity and a need, and it's extremely important that we all communicate how we're feeling. And, if we're holding stuff in, it's really important to get it out and to talk to people. I also believe that there's a time to stop talking.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah. And when I decided I was going to stop and move forward, that's when real changes happened. But that doesn't mean you necessarily can skip the first stage. Okay. Because you of course, if you've got trauma in your life, if events have happened, you probably do need to express it somehow. Okay. Yeah. And get it out. But if we continue to talk, and this is something that I very, very much learned over the years, and from my training and stuff, is that all we're doing is reinforcing those neural pathways. And the bigger the neural pathways are in your brain, okay, whether they're good or bad, the stronger the emotion, the corresponding emotion, good or bad. So if you constantly say to yourself, my life is terrible, this is an absolutely awful, I feel awful, I feel terrible, and you constantly say that neural pathways becomes bigger and bigger and stronger, and so does the emotion, and so hence you feel really bad. So that is not necessarily a productive way of using language. So this is kind of where I went with what I learned. The first thing that happened was I picked up a book called The Power of Now, by Eckhart Tolle, and I'm sure you know it well. And I read that book, and the main message that I got from that book was to be in the moment. That if we're in that moment, it's impossible to feel bad, because if you're not thinking about the past and you're not thinking about the future, and you stay in this moment right now, then you can't really feel bad, because you can only feel bad if your thoughts are going into, oh, this happened in my past. Oh, woe me, that happened. Or, oh, what if this happens in my future? Oh, what if that happens in my future? And then you feel bad because you're thinking of something negative. But if you just stay in the moment, it's actually impossible to feel bad. Okay. So that was a great step for me, because it taught me, and I was like an open book. I was like a sponge. I took all this information in. I was very practical. So I was very good at actually putting it into action and taking the best bits from it and saying, okay, I'm a fighter, I'm a survivor. What does this book say to do? And I'm going to do it. And it said, okay, just be present. Just stare straight at an object. And I literally did it. And for me, that was mind-blowing, because even if it was just for 5 seconds at a time, I could actually breathe calmly. Okay, because my thoughts weren't going to this, oh, poor me, because this happened in my past, my parents treated me this way, I lost my money, blah, 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 blah. Or what if this happens, and now what am I going to do, and this is going to happen next, and blah, 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 blah. So when I stayed in the moment, I felt okay. So that was the first stage. And I really believe it's important that things happen in stages, because you can't jump from feeling so depressed, so overwhelmed, to feeling ecstatically happy, just like, you know what I mean? Now, it can happen fast, but there is a process. So I went on from there, basically. The long and the short of it is, I went on from there to study with Paul McKenna, the hypnotist, and Richard Bandler, who is his teacher, who taught, who's the founder of NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, and many others. And that's kind of what led me basically to what I do, because I had no intention of doing it as a business. But after my first time training with Paul McKenna and Richard Bandler, I went off, and they actually did an exercise with me on stage, and it's kind of related to timeline therapy. Okay, I'm sure you probably heard of it.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and I can probably very quickly talk about an exercise that's beneficial for people.
Great, love that. Yeah, absolutely.
But basically, it's one part of it is, this wouldn't be timeline, but one big part would be noticing your thoughts and noticing where the voice is coming from. And this was huge for me, because I know it sounds silly, because we all, in theory, know we have a voice, but we don't actually really become aware of it and listen to it. And when I actually literally heard that voice inside my head, it actually wasn't inside my head, it was here, it was outside my head. This is where my voice is.
Right. Okay, love it.
And there's no right or wrong place.
Yeah.
Okay, but we all have voices in different places, because I ask people all the time, where's your voice? And they point to different places. And, I might have a room full of people, and I say, where's your voice? And they're all pointing. One's up in the air, one's behind, one's in their heart, one's in their nose, one's in their left ear. So they're all in different places. There's no right or wrong, but this is kind of where my voice is, right? And it was so negative. It was in such a negative tone. It was so demeaning and condescending to me that I went, oh my God, and we say it logically, intellectually, but we actually don't actually stop and listen to it. So when I actually heard it, I went, oh, that's incredible. So very simple exercise, and this is literally a 2-second exercise, is to notice that voice. And if it's saying something negative that like you're not good enough, or I'm not good enough, you're saying that to yourself. I could never do that, whatever, I could never do that, right? So the voice that's saying that, or whatever it may be, or I'm not that type of person, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not lovable, or I'm not pretty, or I'm not intelligent enough, or I'm not smart enough, or whatever it is, change that voice. And as ridiculous as this sounds, it sounds, it actually works. Okay, change it to a really, really silly voice. Change it to something like Donald Duck.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, and imagine Donald Duck instead talking to you. Okay, and your voice, and it's a tiny little Donald Duck. Remember now, it's a miniature little Donald Duck this size. So he's kind of squeaking that same sentence. So he's saying, I'm not a good Donald Duck impersonator, but he says something like, yeah, you're not good enough. Right? Okay, and when you do it a couple of times like that, it's actually impossible to take that voice seriously. It's kind of laughable. It's kind of silly, right? So it diminishes your negative feelings associated with that sentence. And you do that a couple of times, very quickly repeat that a couple of times. What happens is you'll notice that things start to change. And when next time you go and say that sentence, something is different. Something has already clicked and has become different, that voice no longer has the same power. In fact, you might even just laugh at it. Okay, instead. And while I'm doing this, actually, for you, Dolores, and for obviously people viewing this or watching this, I am using conversational hypnosis to strike that message home for you, the listener, so that it has more effect on you when you listen to that voice, that you can change it. So that's kind of the kind of thing that I do. And the timeline therapy that I did was moving forward. So let's say, for example, you're apprehensive or you're anxious and you're feeling, that, oh, you don't know where to go in life, or, there's too many things, or you're overwhelmed, or you're whatever. So let's say all these things are going, or you just don't think you're ever going to be able to be productive in this world, and you think your head is full of all these thoughts or whatever. So most of the time, a lot of time that happens because we're not focusing on one thing. So I'm sure you've said this. I'm sure, Dolores, I know you do a lot of this work yourself, okay, on people. You work with people yourself. So I'm sure you've heard this, and you know this, that your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real or imagined.
Yeah.
Right. So I often use the example of, if you have a dream, and presumably, you've had a dream where you felt emotion, good or bad. You felt, excited, or you felt really scared, or you felt really happy or really sad. And what happens is, when we come back into consciousness, we go, oh, that was a dream, because our conscious mind knew it was a dream, but the subconscious mind didn't, because it was a dream. It doesn't know the difference between what's real or imagined. So, and you had emotion. So that's really important to understand, is that your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference, because if you can trick your subconscious mind, which you now know you can, okay, because it doesn't know the difference between what's real or imagined, so all it has to do is imagine it, and then it's tricked into believing it's already happened, then isn't it easier to do it again? Okay, everything is easier if you've done it twice, if you're doing it the second time round.
Wow, I love that, Danielle. Yeah, and this is wonderful, because there's simple things that people do. Can you give us a scenario then for, you did now with the Donald Duck one, that's great. So for that, let's say, for someone that, let's say, would be struggling with, now we all have mental health, and, I've said that several times, and we have dips in them, and it's not like, we're not talking mental illness, we're talking our mental health and keeping them maintained. Yeah. So with this subconscious, can you give us an idea, a little scenario that you could you notice that maybe comes up for people that suffers from overwhelm, or actually anxiety is a huge one?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of one of the ways you could do it. There's many different ways.
Sure, of course.
One way would be to actually physically stand up. Okay, close your eyes. Make sure you've got a safe place that you can do this, so you're not walking off into a pond or down the stairs or something like that. So, be in a room where it's safe and there's no furniture in the way. Close your eyes and walk forward until where you feel, for example, say 6 months' time or a year's time is. Okay, and just focus on one goal that you'd like to achieve. So say, for example, one of all the different, if we look at the wheel of life as in all the different areas in your life, let's say you want to focus on your business part of your life, and you have one goal, just pick one goal that maybe you'd like to have achieved in a year's time. What I suggest is you walk forward and allow your subconscious mind to bring you to where 1 year's time is, and you stop there, okay, and then step forward one day past that. Okay, stop there for a second and then step forward one day past that, okay, into where it's the morning after.
Oh,
you wake up, yeah, and you're kind of going, oh wow, I did that yesterday.
I love it.
Okay, so that takes away a lot of pressure, okay, for you. And then what you do is you turn around with your eyes closed, okay, and you step back into the day that happened, okay, when you reached that goal.
Right.
And now you live it as if you're there, and you experience it. You notice what you see, you notice what you hear, you notice what you feel, smell, taste, and touch, okay, and how you're feeling. Notice how you're carrying yourself, what your body is like, what your face and your muscles are like, what your mouth is like, what your eyes feel like. But now that you've reached and achieved this goal, okay, and then you can walk back with your eyes closed, noticing what you did along the way. Okay, until you come back to where you feel is the present, and then turn around and open your eyes. Okay, and simple, very simple. Now we could break it down a lot more, but that's very basically explaining kind of the concept of timeline therapy and how to move forward to help your own subconscious mind to understand that this has already happened. And when it's already happened, it takes the pressure off you because you've done it already, right? Because 90.
Oh, this is so exciting. I'm definitely going to be trying that once we're off this call.
Yeah. So that's one example. But I mean, there's millions of simple examples, breaking things down into little goals, little rituals, breathing exercises. You know, I mean, there's loads of psychological tools. I'm sure everyone's heard of what's her name, Mel Robbins. I mean, she uses a wonderful psychological tool that you know, the psychologists will know about counting backwards. Counting backwards triggers a response. So when you do something simple as go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, if you're feeling overwhelmed and anxious, if you wake up in the morning and simply go, as you breathe in through your nose, go inside your head, say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out through your mouth, say inside your head, let go. Do that 3 times and notice what's different. Okay? And you're suddenly going to start to feel an awful lot calmer. Or you could change let go for something more positive. You could also go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, be calm. Or you could say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, feel happier. Or you could say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm excited, or whatever it is that you wanted to do to create that momentum, because 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 drives you into whatever you're about to feel. Okay, because that counting back psychological tool does that for you. So, I mean, obviously we all know how beneficial gratitude is.
Yes.
You know, and gratitude journals. And in my book, I'm pretty sure I've spoken about this in my book. You probably know it better than me. But I talk about doing a gratitude in advance. That's a great way as well, because anxiety comes from all those thoughts. And, you know, if we're feeling our mental health isn't good, a lot of the time it's coming from all these overwhelming thoughts. So if we kind of simplify those thoughts, and a great way of simplifying those thoughts is to simply wake up in the morning and write down 3 simple things that you're going to feel grateful for that day. As simple as being able to breathe, as simple as being able to drink water, as simple as being able to walk, whatever it may be that you can feel grateful for.
That's great, actually. You know, looking to do it before the day, because usually people talk about doing it at night time, and I think that's actually better because, well, I like that approach. Let's say I know everyone to their own, but I think that's good because usually at night time I'm far too tired and I forget all these things.
Yeah, well, they both have a purpose. Doing it at nighttime is wonderful as well, but doing it in the morning is
setting the intention almost for the day.
Exactly. That's what it's setting the intention. And you know the sayings, and I talk about them all the time, is you get more of what you focus on.
Yeah.
So set your focus on feeling good, on feeling grateful, on feeling peaceful, of feeling clear, of feeling focused, of feeling alert, whatever it is, the feelings that you want, then you're going to get more of those, because that's the intention that you set. If you wake up in the morning and you say, oh, here we go again, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, that's what you're telling yourself, and that's what you're actually hypnotizing yourself into belief. And that's the intention that your mind is going to follow, because it simply does what it's told. You know, I mean, I often use the example, and I have this wonderful light here, so it looks very, very wonderful. But I often use the example. Yeah, I use the example of if I was holding, for example, a snowball, a snow globe, and the snow globe, let's say, is your brain. Right? So let's say the snow globe is your brain. So that glass snow globe is your brain. And inside your brain, and your brain is an incredible, wonderful computer. And inside your brain, you've got these snowflakes. And when you shake them and your mind is overwhelmed and full and stressed, all those snowflakes are shaking around, all those thoughts. Okay? And then when you allow your mind to settle and calm down, all those flakes settle to the bottom. So your mind is clear, right? Okay, so the snow globe is your brain, your mind. Okay, your brain. The flakes are your thoughts. But the real question is, who's holding the snow globe? Who's holding it? Right? You are. So remember that you set the direction all the time. So it's about making good thoughts so that you get more of those.
Oh, wow. That's great. All those tools.
I could keep talking, but yeah.
Well, you know, I could talk to you for all evening and all tomorrow as well. And that's what I said to you before the call about your book, Black Belt Mastermind, is that it has the tools in it, which is really, I think, so beneficial for people. That's what I like as well. You know, and you've given loads and loads. You've given us loads on the call, and the book is full of exercises as well that people can do. So that it's actually, you see that it's achievable, because if you do the exercises, if you don't do them, that's another thing. But if you do the exercises in the book, you're going to get results. There's no doubt about it, because you're setting that intention there again, and you're doing the book with the purpose and with the intention of getting a better result. So yeah, it is a great book. I presume that's available on your website, is it?
It's available. You can get it through my website if you want to get a signed copy, or you can get it on Amazon, Amazon UK, Amazon.com, whichever you prefer. You can get it through that as well. And some bookshops have it as well, but not all yet. Okay.
Sure.
But yeah, it is a practical guide. And what you said, Dolores, is very true, because a lot of people read stuff and they intellectualize it, but they don't take action. When you take action from those techniques in that book, the things do change. Your life does change. I know this. I'm proof of it. My students, people I've worked with, are proof of it. I've seen it countless and countless times over and over again. It does change everything, because it's like a domino effect. You change one little thing and it just sets it off. So they really, really work. Very powerful.
I can imagine too, doing that. I'm definitely going to do that timeline one, but also, like, I suppose it's if you do that, or whatever tool or technique that people want to do, if you see you can change one part of your life, you talked about the wheel of life earlier, like, why not take that then after you've maybe one particular goal done, rather than making a load of unachievable goals at the same time, and tackle another part of your life on the wheel of life, maybe that you'd like to fulfill further, or chase another dream that you have, change another little bit of your life. So I mean, I think if you do one, as you say, concentrate on one part and realize that you can change, you realize that you are the one that's in the driver's seat all the time.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I call the domino effect. And that's how we build our motivation and our drive to go and do more and experience more in life. Because a lot of people stop and fail, don't do anything, because they have aimed too big. It's not really aimed too big, because I believe we all want to be.
But I know what you mean. Yeah.
But they won't do anything until everything's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay? Or they try to do everything at once.
Yeah.
So if you do take small little steps, the tiny of little steps, all you got to do is take your life 1 degree, of course, and you end up in a whole new destination. So it's taking small little steps, and what it does, it builds some motivation and drive, because you go, oh wow, that was good. Oh wow, I did well, and you build your self-belief muscle from the inside out. So you start feeling good about yourself, and it drives you naturally to want to do more.
And I always find that, like, I'm, constantly trying to declutter the house, and you could spend a lot of time doing the cupboards, and, you can't see anything. But when you empty a cupboard, there's space in it for the stuff, other stuff can go into it, and there's a clearing then can hurt. But you have to start sometimes with the stuff that you can't see, almost, like maybe the beliefs internally, but it does have a domino effect on the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. It totally does. Yeah.
And Danielle, you're also doing retreats as well. Not just in Ireland, you're gone global.
Gone global, yeah, that's it. Well, I mean, I do a lot of training. I mean, I've been doing, besides my one-to-one coaching and working with people individually, if people want to work with me for one session, I mean, obviously I do all the typical hypnosis stuff, like stop smoking and phobias and fears.
Brilliant. And is that in person and via Skype maybe, or something?
Yes, it can be both.
Brilliant.
It can be, I do it unconventionally as well, with my walk the talk days, where we go on a walk, and it's very natural and beautiful place like Glendalough, or and beautiful gardens or somewhere like that. So you just feel like you're walking and talking, but there's huge transformation happening, because I'm using conversation hypnosis. So you can do it that way. I also do mentorships and coaching programs if people have, say, I don't know, they want to work on their business plans, or they want to do something that's, that's leading them further on. So they have a kind of a longer term plan that they want to do. And then obviously I do workshops and talks and trainings. So I do a workshop, I do a 1-day event, which is my transformational 1-day boot camp, and the Black Belt Mastermind boot camp. So that's a great day of transformation for people. And then if people want to learn how I did that on the people that have had the transformation of the day, that's when they stay on for the 7 days and do the NLP training. So I've been running that for about 5 or 6 years in Ireland, and I decided it was time to bring people to where I grew up in Italy. And so this year will be the start of it, but I'm planning on repeating it on a yearly occurrence, so that we will be going every year to Italy, to Tuscany, to stay in an incredible villa where we'll be doing the NLP training over there. Because if you're submerged and you're away from your normal everyday environment for a week, it the best way for you to learn something is when you're in the best state, and when you're taken out of your normal environment. It's a great way to experience new things and to learn at a much, much deeper level. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to this incredible retreat, beautiful retreat with 14 little apartments and a big, huge pool, and it's absolutely phenomenal in the Tuscan.
I can imagine.
And we're going to go to all these different places every night and see some incredible towns, and it'll be a transformational week. So people,
and you're such a bubbly person, and you're always smiling. I can only imagine the fun that's going to be had as well.
And I'm the Italian guide as well, so it's going to be so much fun.
Absolutely. Well, that goes without saying.
It's great fun, yeah.
And you're still on radio as well if people want to listen in.
Yes, I have a radio show. I do some other radio shows occasionally, but my main radio show would be on Dublin City FM, 103.2 Dublin City FM. Friday mornings, the show is called Mind Matters. So obviously it's all about mindset and mental health. And where I talk a little bit, get some tips and advice, some really bad jokes.
Are you still doing those, yeah?
I'll do the terrible jokes, because I believe, whether people are laughing with me or at me, it's all good. I've still done my job and changed their minds.
Well, would you like to leave us with a joke before you go?
Oh, now you put me on the spot. Okay, let me tell you one. Okay, there's a baby mosquito, and he's off for his first flight, and his parents are very, very nervous. So he takes off, and they're watching very carefully, and they're saying, "Be careful, baby, because it's a dangerous world out there. Humans aren't very nice towards us." And he goes buzzing off, and he's really, really happy, and the parents are watching expectantly, and he comes back, and they see him coming back, and he lands, and he's really excited, and they say, "Was everything okay? Was everything okay? It was safe? You had a good time?" And the little baby mosquito says, "It was wonderful. It was fabulous." And the parents say, "Really? It was that good?" And the mosquito said, "Yes, it was fabulous. Everybody was clapping."
Oh.
I don't know if you get that, but the baby
yes.
had a very positive outlook on life.
Well, actually, that's actually a funny joke for once.
There you go.
Only joking.
So, serotonin changes your brainwave, so it's the best thing for us.
I totally agree. Danielle, is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you'd like to say before you go?
I would like to say, I suppose, if you're feeling down, one, do speak to somebody. I know earlier we're saying, it's also time to stop, but do talk to somebody, get some help. Okay, don't hold it in, because I held it in for way too long and it wasn't good. Okay, so do speak up, because it's totally normal. It's amazing. I get people every day and everyone has the same feelings. So speak up, talk to somebody, get help. There is good people out there that really do want to help, and there is so many better ways to feel. And I know I, for one, definitely am here if anybody wants to talk to me. I know Dolores is the kindest of souls, and I'm sure she would as well. Whether you're feeling really bad or just, talk to somebody. There is better ways to feel, and I guarantee, if you're going to come and talk to me, you will definitely feel better.
You're an inspiration. Give a shout out to your website there, Danielle, as well.
It is there because it's all about you. It's not about me. It's you are the black belt mastermind. It's about you becoming the black belt of your mind. That's what the book is. It's not about me being the black belt mastermind. It's about you reading the book and becoming the black belt of your mind. So my website is theblackbeltmastermind.com.
I'll put a link to that, theblackbeltmastermind.com. Danielle, thank you so much for all those inspirational tips. You are such a pleasure to interview, and I could stay here talking to you all evening, but yes, I guess we better go. Thank you so much for being on the summit.
Likewise, beautiful. Lovely to talk to you.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.